Well, I think they clearly know I'm a threat. I've been reached out to by a couple of the other candidates' committees and checking up on me, and supporters from the others and saying, hey, how's it going? Why don't you drop out and join our campaign? Why don't you? They know I'm a threat. They know that I have a good story to tell. They know what I've been doing since March 7th when I started the campaign. I've traveled over 28,000 miles throughout the state of Missouri and another 4,500 miles going to New York, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. on 4 trips.
Right. And Hector, if I could say, just to let our audience know, you actually showed up in Washington, D.C. with me and a few others from Freedom Torch during Healthcare Week, the week they were voting on healthcare. And I got to say, you're a true patriot for showing up there that week.
Well, we have to fight. We can't. And I know the odds are stacked against me. I know I don't have the millions of dollars that Roy Blunt has, but I have a much bigger heart. I was willing to die for my country. I volunteered to go to Iraq and Afghanistan, not because I like war, but because I was fighting and honoring the over 1 million men and women who have sacrificed their life to preserve this country. And I went there to make a stand, and the price of freedom I was willing to pay was with my life. These politicians, they have no clue as to what the real sacrifice is and what the colors of the red, white, and blue mean and represent. And furthermore, they don't even really care about the Constitution. They just assume that they're trying to get a majority vote, and this goes on both sides. If they could get a majority vote, then they get them, a Democratic vote, and they win. But that's not the case. We're not a democracy. We're a democratic republic. They have to listen to the people. So far in my campaign, everyone that I've talked to throughout the whole state of Missouri, people are rallying behind me. People instantly, they hear my story, and they ask me, what can I do? How can I help? And I say, help me get more people to my website, look at where I stand on issues, help me get more people out on August 3rd to vote for me specifically. And if I can do that, we can beat the millions of dollars that any other candidate might have. That's
right, and that's happening all over the country this year. And now, tell us what your website is. Tell us your website.
My website is HECTORforFreedom.com, www.HECTORFreedom.com. And it's been proven already. Unions spent $10 million in Arkansas to try and defeat Blanche Lincoln. And although it would have been nice maybe if she was defeated, but she'll be defeated by probably the Green Beret who is running as an independent there. I believe he will win. He's got a better story, and he like me, know the sacrifices. He's served in combat. He's a Special Forces Green Beret guy, and he knows the true sacrifice. But Union spent $10 million trying to defeat her with another more liberal candidate, and the voters didn't buy it. So I am convinced that the Missouri voters are not going to, just because the career politician has more money than I do, and he has more money to put out commercials and say that he's the only one that can beat Robin Carnahan. That's not true. I met Robin Carnahan, and she is a weak liberal who's done nothing for her country. She's another career politician who is riding on the coattails of her family.
From a political family. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, I will beat her.
Let me just read something off that I think you'll be interested in. Here are the people. I have a list here of the Republican candidates running and their job, like their previous job title. So you're running against an electrical contractor, a database technician, an architect, a police sergeant, a teacher, and a handyman. And next to you it says Iraq Afghan vet. So you've served your country, and like you say, you've been willing to put your life on the line for your country. You understand. And I think coming from an immigrant Mexican family, you understand why America is so great and what's made it great.
I know what's at stake. I know the alternative. If America falls, where do we escape to? Where do we go? What country is going to offer the liberties and the freedom that this country? There's no other country. We have to preserve our Constitution. We have to preserve our country. And
that's right.
You know, a lot of people say, well, you've never had office, so you don't know what you're doing. You don't have a voting record. We don't know where you stand on issues. And I say, yes, I do. I do have a voting record. I voted for America. I joined the Army, and I went to war to fight for my country.
That's right.
And people resonate with that, and every day I get more and more support behind me, and the money will come. I actually I had a little change, and I've met some really good people that are in a position to help me out, and I've got a surprise from Missouri, and we're in the middle of finalizing some of our plans. So
that's awesome.
We are going to come strong in the last 30 days.
That is awesome. Okay, now let me ask you one more question before we go. Roy Blunt, he's your he's in the House right now, right?
He is, yes.
Right. Okay. So Roy Blunt is a congressman. What now? I take it you've had a chance to look pretty closely at his record in Congress, right?
Mm-hmm.
What has he taken stands on issues any stands that you disagree with by any chance? I mean, I know he's a Republican, so you might agree. You know, you two may have cast similar votes in the past, but I'm just curious if he's voted on anything differently than you would have.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, yes. He's running on the Republican ballot, saying that he's a conservative, and he is endorsed by the retiring Senator Kit Bond. And if he is anything like Senator Kit Bond, with all due respect to Senator Bond and what he's done for Missouri, they're not the conservatives that they say they are. They voted. Roy Blunt voted for the TARP bill, for the payoffs. He voted for the cash for clunkers, and neither of those did anything to help the economy or to help the Americans.
That's right.
Furthermore, he has taken a lot of the money that he has come from big corporations and from special interest lobbies. He is one of the top 10 recipients of funds from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who we all know that got billions of dollars from the federal government to help Americans, and they did not help any Americans. They invested their money. They made a lot of money. They paid back the loan in a year. They didn't help anybody, but they made money, and they bought the votes of guys like Roy Blunt. So
and
he is going to continue.
If he look, a lot of good people voted for TARP. They got sucked in by the hysteria, and I think a lot of people got fooled by it. It all happened so quickly. But anybody, especially a Republican, who voted for cash for clunkers, that shows such a misunderstanding of how the economy works and what the government's involvement in the economy should be from a constitutional standpoint, that person has been compromised. As a conservative American, that person has been compromised. His principles were compromised by that vote.
Exactly, and that's my whole point to my campaign. Everywhere that I've gone, I'm not going into the U.S. Senate, or I don't want a career in politics. I'm committed to 2 terms. I have to go to the U.S. Senate. I have to stand up for America because no one else is, because they are selling America short. They are compromising on the people, on issues. They're compromising on the trust that people put in them to send them there in the first place.
Right.
And I'm not going to do that. Where I stand on issues is the criteria for my election and re-election. My message to America is America deserves better. America needs a warrior in Washington, D.C. to fight for her, that understands what's at stake, and more importantly, that loves liberty and freedom more than power. I don't want to go to Washington, D.C. for power. I want to go there to do what's right, to vote on issues based on ethics and morals and our Constitution. And that's pretty much it.